Hey, yo, peace. What up? Welcome back to Secret House again. So as you can see by the title of this video, we're doing a little something different. You guys know we're the Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture conversation show, and we're trying to get more into conversations with people in the community. So here's the first of many kind of non-local conversations I'm hoping to have with artists. Perhaps like once a month, we'll get somebody on. Ideally, we're going to be rocking with people who are in our community, people whose albums were reviewed, or people, especially those that rock with us in the Discord. And today I'm having a discussion with the great Sunmundi. You guys will recall our discussion about his 2024 collaborative album that he did with the producer Klwn Cat, Lived and Born. We really love that one. And yeah, I'm just waiting for him to get into the room right now. It's going to be a real casual conversation, more of us getting to know each other in person than it is like a structured type of thing. But in the Discord, I did ask a few people if they had any. Oh, I asked everybody if they had questions. So there'll be a few of those type of questions. But mostly, I'm just going to be getting into learning who Sunmundi is. And yeah, and in the meantime, uh, if you haven't heard his music, I highly recommend checking it out. He was one of my most listened to artists last year. My favorite song of the year is was Mic Check with him and Shamar. Also super dope. Produced by Shamar. Clearly my number one favorite song of the year. I must have played it like 150,000 times or less, but a lot. So yeah, I'm just going to post up for a second, wait for him to get into the room, and then I'll cut out the dead air, and then we'll be back to it. So thanks for clocking in. Peace to the patrons, peace to the listeners, peace to the subscribers, peace to all of you. Universal greetings.
Okay, word.
Bet. Hey, Sunmundi, what up, yo?
What up? What up? How you doing?
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Am I good?
Okay, bet. Yeah, we sound good, man. Like I said, I already made the intro, so I figure we'll just get into this. I know we've been online homies for a minute, but this is our first time communicating in like like real time, non-local time. So yeah, man.
Right.
I'm super hyped to have you here, the first of our kind of online conversations with artists and such.
hmm
How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm getting over being sick. I was sick for like a week. So I'm still kind of struggling, but I'm doing good. I can't complain. How about you?
Bet,
You
bet.
doing good?
Yeah, like we've actually been trying at this for like 3 weeks now, right? First week, you mentioned you had a lot of homework, and I was like, yo, don't even worry about it. Let's move it. And then last week, I've been having allergy issues since like the start of COVID, and I got tested and they did my blood work and they were like, yo, you don't actually have any allergies. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense because I seem to be having an allergic reaction to something. So I don't know, maybe it's like something in it, like microplastics in my pineal gland or some shit.
Yeah, that's
Who
where we're at
knows?
right now, I think.
Yeah. But man, last week, oh my God, I woke up and I just felt like, yo, like my voice was gone. And so and then yesterday we had the day wrong because of the distance between Japan, and you're in New York, right?
Yeah, upstate New York.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So, but we got it. We're here today, and so I'm
Yeah,
I'm hyped
man.
to talk to you. I'm gonna
Indeed.
treat this just like a homie conversation. If we were to meet, at a coffee shop and in person, and obviously we can go wherever we want with the conversation. But ideally, I will be asking you some questions about your art and who you are, and trying to get to know you like that. Feel free to be like, yo, where are you from, and any type of questions you have. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
first I want to say congratulations on all of your success last year, getting a pitchfork review with such a high rating. What was the rating, like a 7.3,
4.
7.4? Yo,
Yeah.
to me that's like best new music type of shit, you know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I
How,
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
you and Clown Cat absolutely killed that album. We had people on our on our video come and comment and be like, yo, we love we love Ka. And I was like, yo, Sunmundi, check it out. And people have just been like, yo, Sunmundi. And that's really dope, especially be compared to an artist like Ka of his caliber. If people recognize his talent and it crosses over directly to you, that's been phenomenal. how is the how is kind of how is the reception of the album coming along for you in Klwn Cat? Have you guys been getting reached out to by, you know, people and such?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I mean, I appreciate you guys so much, and everyone who chooses to review the album. Like, I know there's so much music, and it's so easy to like miss albums. So I really, really appreciate you guys. You guys said a lot of really nice and, you know, too nice maybe things about us. I really appreciate it heavily. Yeah, the Pitchfork article was. I woke up and I was very surprised to see that. That was a shock. I mean, we had sent it to Dylan. I had met him once as well at a show. Nicest dude. And yeah, I think in general the reception of the album's kind of blown me away. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. It's kind of hard like accepting it. Like I kind of feel like other people deserve that kind of like. There's so many people that deserve that kind of shine. So I, you know, it's no small you know, happening like that. That's pretty big. And yeah, just people reaching out and saying, you know, even like up to like a month ago, like someone hit me up and was like, "Yo, I really enjoyed Lived and Born," and you know, just the fact that people are still listening to it means a lot to me. And yeah, I appreciate that so much. Yeah, it's blown me away. In short, it's
Right.
just blown me away. Yeah.
Tight. I was just my daughter was in here and she's like, "Yo, where's the guy? Aren't you supposed to record with somebody?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm recording with Sunmundi." And she's like, "Who is that?" And so I pulled up the video for All in the Wind
Mm.
further, and the first comment that shows up on it is like, "Yo, son, Secret House Against the World brought me here," and I was like,
Yeah.
I like to contribute to you know, the good things in the world, especially with things seemingly falling apart all around us and shit. So yeah, man.
Absolutely.
You know, one thing that I like to do on our show is like we don't review a lot of artists that we don't like. If we say let's review an album and then me and Jed are like, "Yo, I wasn't really feeling this," we'll usually take a pass on it. So everything we say on the show, while it may be kind of like, you know, at times like hyperbolic, like, you know, like this is the greatest, like that's just how I speak. So it's all honesty,
Mm.
man. We genuinely were blown away with the quality of your bars and the musical kind of soundscapes that Klwn Cat put together. A phenomenal combination. What do you have? Well, first I wanted to ask a question, man. I love your name. Sunmundi is just a fucking hard name. Where does that come from? And is there like a meaning behind it?
My man, thank you for saying that. Yeah, you know, I was originally gonna go with just like my name, just Marcus. But yeah, I don't really know. I think my wife and I were kind of brainstorming, and yeah, I think the idea of like a fully unique name, like it's just like a word, a made up word, is so cool. And I had taken Latin in school, in college. I took like a year worth of Latin. And Mundi means like of the world. It's like a possessive form. So yeah, I just thought it was a tight little like compound word moment, like Sun Mundi, like sun of the
Yeah.
world or light of the world. And I think a lot of in my early music, there was a lot of references to nature, and so it felt like something that was um, close. It was like pretty off. It felt, you know, authentic to me. It still does. I think it's a cool name, and I appreciate that you like it. Not a lot of people
Now that
really take note of it. I think it's a cool name as well. It's
now
unique.
that
It's got
shit
good
is
SEO. You
yeah.
know what I mean? If nothing else. So,
Now that shit is fucking tight. You
thank
know,
you.
yeah, like a portamento, you know, two things coming together, and that's dope. But
Mm.
I also didn't know if it was just like a part of some language that I wasn't familiar with, or some like I don't know, like Eastern philosophy type of thing that I hadn't read up on. Which I thought I was pretty well read on a lot of Eastern philosophy. At least I was when I was younger. And I was like, I don't know what that shit means, but that shit sounds like fucking dope. And
Word.
some, you know, not to shit on anybody using their real names, but that has definitely become like a thing that is more common in the last, you know, 15-20 years. Nobody used to really do that back when I was younger. And then we had like the whole overusage of Lil and Big. You know, you could have been like Lil Marcus and it would have just not hit the same. So yeah.
Well, let's not count anything out. You never know. You never know. It depends what
Hey, you know,
producer hits me up next. It
yeah,
might
you
go.
might have to do some rebranding, you know, you know, put the Doom mask on and take the name off. So
Listen.
tight, tight. You know, how did to kind of stick with Lived and Born for a minute, how did you the homie rap man Gavin, you know, a music collaborator with you, friend of the show, part of our like online community and stuff, South African cat, just amazing dude. He wanted to know how you and Klwn Cat first connected.
Yeah, we were both in a Discord server like years ago. It was the Hidden Renaissance server. It was just like an underground. I don't know if you're familiar. It was just like a
Wait, is
underground.
that the throne, the spot where all the throne cats were?
Yeah,
Okay, word,
correct.
bet. I
Yeah,
have
we were
heard of
both
that.
word. Yeah, we were both in there. And I had just threw a demo in in the hip hop channel or whatever, and I had seen Clown Cat was in the group, and I sent it, and I wasn't intending for anyone to really listen to. You just kind of do that aimlessly. You're like, here it is. If anyone likes it, that's cool. Clown Cat heard it, and he was pretty shook by it, and he was like, "This is tight. We got to work." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, you're Clown Cat. Like, of course I'll work with you." Um, and then he sent me some beats, and I think he first asked me to be on Vox and Rama, his EP that he dropped. I forgot what year, but I was on that. I did a track called Stalemate with him, and then we were just like, "Yo, let's just see how many tracks we can make, see if we can make an album." And the first three songs we made, the first three beats he sent me, I think, and the first three songs we made were the first three songs on the album: "Stay Compassionate," "Capitulation," and "Healing Song." I don't know if that's the order, but anyway, that's how we
Okay.
linked on Discord. I met a lot of people through Discord, a lot of collaborators. So
I've actually, you know, I'm kind of a new adopter to using Discord. I downloaded it years ago, but I maybe tapped in like once or twice. But it was really through Jet starting the Secret House Discord and me joining the Rap Music Plug podcast Discord that it's come to kind of dominate a part of my day. And also like my friend group has widened back to like world, like, you know, more like a daily world level because of it. I've met so many dope cats through there, including yourself and Shamar,
mm,
who were some of like the first people to join our Discord, and how we kind of met, and where you sent us the album. And man, like, I gotta say, I love it. I love the Discord community. At least the two that I'm in, you know, they're non-toxic. Ours is always, we seem to keep on getting people who are, you know, leftists and communists, socialists at least, and that's been really nice, because not only do we get to say that we're not going to discuss DJ academics in our group, but we also get to talk theory. So
hmm
for the people listening, man, join the Discord if you're good folks. It's more fun there. Uh,
it's a cool
um,
space for sure.
yeah, man, it's really dope, and great. I like the number of people I've met is just amazing through it. But back to like, where are you from? You're from New York?
Yeah, I'm from upstate New York. I'm just from a small town called Millbrook, just like a small, kind of like rich town. That's where I'm from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, like I was actually born in New York too, but
Mm.
I left there when I was 2. So I don't really stake claim on being like a New Yorker or anything like that, but I was born in Buffalo, New York,
Oh, word. Okay.
before I moved to California. Um is that where you live now?
Yeah. Yeah. I live in upstate New York. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know, like, you know, I've been finding so much about like the kind of underground independent radical art scene in New York. There's so many cats out there, like you and Shamar and Black Chai, and I
hmm
think Nakama, Hester Valentine, and Miles Cook.
Yeah.
Those are all like homies and collaborators of yours as well, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. They're all like from New York City. And in a way, I don't really, I don't necessarily like rep New York or like
Yeah.
claim like, oh, I'm like a New York rapper, because I think
Yeah.
people just hear New York and they're like, oh, you're from like Brooklyn or Queens or
Brooklyn.
whatever. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm like, where I'm from is like, it's the majority. Like New York, most of New York is not like New York City. Like
Right.
um but New York City is obviously like has the most cultural weight. So I kind of I'm a little reticent to like claim New Yorkness sometimes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like a step away. I'm like, yeah, I'm from New York, but like I was born in Connecticut, like, and
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, You should bleep that out. Like,
yeah, you're not like on the stoop with Tim's in like a fucking oversized Yankee fitted hat.
yeah, man. No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not.
Okay. But you obviously make it out to the city sometimes to do shows with the homies and stuff like that, yeah?
Yeah, I've gone occasionally. Yeah, and I've met Sasko, Shamar, Hester, met Miles Cook. Yeah, I've met a lot of people at these shows, and it's an amazing scene. It's an incredible scene. Like, I would love to live in the city just to be like more, just to be more closely to the scene. I think that would be really fun. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff happening in New York for sure.
We have a bit of that kind of out here in Tokyo too, but like because when people talk about Tokyo and they think about like the 45 million people in the place, it actually like is expanded to it like incorporate all of the places outside of Tokyo. But like the central area that me, Jed, and Deza live in is like it's like living in the city. We're a couple minutes away from all the places you see on like movies about Japan,
Right,
Shibuya, Shinjuku, and
right.
where I live, Ikebukuro. And yeah, like because of that, we kind of have a bit of a scene. It's just like it's radical and such, but I just when I look at what's going on in like New York right now, there's such a like I feel a rich resurgence of just like really interesting experimental and avant-garde style artists who are also like politically and socially doing things that are special out there. Like that song with you and Shamar, Mic Check.
Mm.
I just that beat, and when I hear you, come on, dun dun, and I'm like, oh my god, that was undoubtedly the most listened to song of the year for me last year, and it might be again this year because I throw that anytime I'm just like walking and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I put that shit on and I'm like,
Oh man, I appreciate that. Thank you so
it
much.
makes me feel it like makes me feel like hella hip hop. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
Mike Tech. Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
How
no,
did
that's for sure.
how did you and Shamar link up?
Yeah, man, let me think. I feel like I met him. I first met him at a show. I think maybe like on Twitter. I think he hit me up on Twitter back in the day. And I didn't even know he rapped. He was just like, "Yo, I appreciate your music. I think it's really cool." And I was like, "I appreciate it." And then he sent me beats, and I'm like, "Okay, damn, hold up, like, why are you an insane producer?"
Yeah.
And then I heard his raps, and I was like, "Wait, you're a better rapper than me, and you're like a fan, quote unquote, fan of me." I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's crazy." So anyway, we linked in that capacity, and then yeah, we eventually made Nature My Nature. I met him. He and I met Ka. Shamar and Sasko and myself, we all met Ka at his last two pop-ups. So that was a special. Those were special link ups for multiple reasons. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
yeah. It's how me and
Yeah.
Shamar kind of got together though through like Twitter. He just hit me up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You made such a kind of wonderful tribute track about Ka, who everybody knows we lost suddenly last year. Um, Tell me a little bit about your kind of like appreciation for Ka. I think I don't really necessarily like to do it where I make comparisons between people's art and whatnot, but I do think that there is kind of a few through lines between your style, the depth, and even the sonic kind of palette on Lived and Born that it's easy to make comparisons with Ka. Like was he like a formative artist for you getting into rap, or like tell me a little bit about your appreciation of Ka?
Yeah, man, 100%. Ka was and still is my favorite artist across any medium. I think I admire him for the reasons we all do. His like dedication, his like singularness to his craft, the way everything is DIY. Like you have to appreciate that on some level. And then just the lyricism, the attention to detail. I think something that drew me into Ka's music was the fact that there were so many just hidden meanings in his lines. Like they were like books. Like each verse was like a book. And I just appreciate someone who would go so hard. It's almost like there's 1,000 details in a painting, and like it'll take you years to notice details, and that's similar to his music. So I appreciate his dedication on that front, and that's something that I try to emulate in my music. Like, I can't help my influence. I can't help my influence from Ka. I don't think it really manifests in my music. Like past Lived and Born, I think Lived and Born is very, um, one dude said I was like a white Yan, which is funny. But
I remember that.
yeah, that infamous character. That dude's got to hit me up. I want to talk to him. But yeah, man, Ka's just the best. And I had emailed him years ago, and I was just like, "Yo, like, I love you. I love your music. You're the best." And he hit me back, and I was just flattered. And
Wow.
yeah, meeting him was insane. So yeah, I don't think any artist will have an impact on me the way he has in music and out of music. Just the way he carried himself, like the honor and the, I don't know. He just had so much fortitude, so much style, like everything, man. I miss him big time.
Yeah, I can't say that like he was one of my like absolute favorites, but to me he's just been on the upper tier of artistry and a person that you could really, respect and know that there's not going to be some, I don't know, fuck shit about, like it's not going to be like he's some goon. I mean, the guy is a New York firefighter, and just steady. I while I think there are like a lot of comparisons to be made with your music and his, calling you like white Dr. Yenlo is like, you know what I mean? Like it's
like a surface level kind of observation you can make, like
right,
a passing joke.
Yeah, and that's what Twitter's good for a lot of times. It's just like passing jokes and shit. But yeah, I see a lot of there's a lot of differences between your work and his, and it's not just because nobody can get to his level. Like you're clearly doing something a bit different and approaching things a bit different as well.
So. Yeah, I mean, even it's audacious of me to even entertain a comparison to him in a way, because it's like, no way, like,
yeah,
different tier. I'm just a fan, like, excuse me. But I think the thing I share with his music is his like the way his music was so contained. Like, I don't know, you could just tell he spends hours like by himself thinking about his music and his albums and the way they were sequenced and the like sample choice and even the way it was mixed. Like, I don't know, man. That's something that I try to emulate, that kind of care, more than, rhyming style or like bars. Because, different, we're different worlds. I'm not entertaining any type of comparison, but I appreciate the sentiment, and I feel it. So yeah.
With an artist like Kaz, like you listen to his music and there's like no filler bars. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that's filler, and I think that that's something that I get from your music as well. Particularly Lived and Born. It's like everything on there is like it seems as though that you put a lot of care and attention to everything said on that album. It's a tremendously like fascinating album that to be honest, I don't necessarily go back to it a lot of times. It's also has to do with my listening habits, but there's songs that I go back to, but to me that's just like there's a cinematic quality to it. In terms of the way that I listen to it, it's like you got to sit down and be ready to watch Lost in Translation. It's not like an endless rewatchable where you just put it on to take up space or to help you clean the house. When I listen to that album, I'm kind of like really listening and trying to pull more details out of it and pulling some of your kind of philosophical through lines and some of your deeper thoughts on that type of stuff. The album it's riddled with what I feel is like like optimism, but also there to me is a lot of elements of more of the Eastern philosophies and the ideas of
Mm.
suffering and the cycle of life and death and samsara and those type of things. What is do you have like a this is like a weird question. Do you have like a kind of philosophical, like a specific philosophical pillar or political type of pillar? As you know, like I'm a Marxist, but I also consider myself a Taoist, and I think that both of those things are perfectly in sync with each other in terms of not being like a Christian that's also believing in like reincarnation. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
there's not there's not like an ideological mix there. For
Yeah.
you, I you don't come out and say like, I believe in, the mud Buddha, but or
Yeah.
but there's a lot there. Like what is, if that's not too crazy of a question, you could just go off.
Yeah. Word. I mean, yeah, it's true. I don't have it. I don't really practice. I don't practice any kind of organized religion, even in a casual sense. Like, I'm not a very religious person. I think I occasionally lean on the spiritual side of thing, like lowercase s kind of philosophy about life, and even something that Iceberg Theory said about his music, which he's like a very religious, like I don't know how tapped in you've been with him, but something he said in an interview one time was like something to the extent of, I'm still trying to figure out myself. And sometimes I contradict myself in my music because sometimes that's life. You just contradict yourself. And I'm not saying I do that, but I'm just saying like I use music to explore things. Like I use it more rather than being like didactic because I'm in no position to, you know, every time I use the second person voice in my music, it's really like I feel like I'm my own target audience. And so I'm like kind of trying to work out to answer your question. I work out those types of questions and these types of viewpoints in my music. Um, I think on one level, my main concern in life is just learning to accept myself for who I am, trying to love people as much as I can, trying to appreciate life as much as I can, trying to avoid the pitfalls of, you know, depression, like the capitalistic foot on our neck. Those are things that I think we can all kind of appreciate, and I think that's where my music kind of comes from. I don't really have like a playbook of beliefs or any in any kind of concrete sense. So it's kind of just stuff I'm working out in my music, and yeah, I don't know.
I feel that. I mean, I'm 42 years old and I've arrived to where I'm at now because I spent so much time trying to work out who I was and what I thought. But
Yeah,
one thing that was like a through line for me is something I get a lot from your music is this kind of relentless optimism in the face of so much, peril. And
yeah,
so that's in the way that you can, you know, twist a word like a term of phrase or put something together. It's just like, yeah, that's really kind of beautiful. It could be a fucking haiku
mm,
of just like a moment captured. Nah,
yeah,
that's great. Like,
I
how
appreciate that.
did uh how did you grow up? Like, what is your ethnic background and what type of household did you grow up in? What do your parents believe in or try to push on you?
Yeah, I mean, to answer the latter part of that question, I grew up going to church. My parents are not very strictly religious or anything. We just kind of went for holidays and stuff. But excuse me, my parents were like not helicopter parents at all. Like I had a really blessed and privileged childhood and upbringing. So I think the thing that I can contribute or attribute to my childhood is I think my compassion. I think I get my dad. My dad's a teacher. My mom was like a business owner for like 40 years. So that's kind of like the lineage I'm coming from. You know, my 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 bad. I'm tripping. What was the other aspect of? What was the other question you asked? My bad.
I know you're answering it. Like I was wondering about your ethnic background
Oh,
because
word. Yeah.
you don't look white, you know, like waspy white to me at all. So
Waspy is crazy.
you know, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, like American
Yeah,
white type.
I'm Italian and like Lebanese. I think like the Lebanese is what produces ambiguity. But like culturally, like I grew up like somewhat whitewashed, partly due to where I grew up and like other factors. But yeah, you know, I like identify as white. Not that I'm proclaiming that from the fucking mountaintops or anything. But I do think it's funny when, um, yeah, people have like been like, "Where's that dude from?" And
You do look a bit ethnically ambiguous. I mean, I've got
yeah,
that my whole life too.
yeah, you do.
So
That's
yeah.
fair. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I yeah, you know, I grew up in a very like upstate New York, like like privileged kind of background. So there's a lot of the world that I haven't seen. And going back to like your question about kind of Eastern sort of philosophy, I studied a good bit of like Eastern philosophy and religion in school. I studied English, and I took a couple courses on like ancient Middle Eastern writing, and I took one class on this Chinese novel that's like a six-story like Goliath um, book that kind of spans traditions of like Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism. It was kind of like a fantasy, kind of a like a fall of a dynasty story over six books. So anyway, that I just thought that was a really interesting type of text that I had never been exposed to before. So yeah, and the like musings in my music come from those types of you know memories, things like reading stuff like that. But again, you know, uh, like I wrote in the description of Lived and Born, I wrote like it's not specifically about reincarnation, you know, because I don't like to be preachy or didactic, and I know people aren't going to fucking want to listen to that. So I keep it kind of open ended, and if you pick something up that feels cool to you and relates to you, that's tight. You know.
That's kind of, you know, a given, I think, for a lot of rap music. The way I listen to rap music is like I'm typically, unless the rapper is more inclined to be like very straightforward with their raps, if there's like a tinge of, you know, like poetic subjectivity I could add to it, I'm like, oh yeah, this song that Pink Seafood made about the bezel breaking could also be a part of like time being disrupted, and you know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right,
I
right.
do that. So considering that, you know, I was also raised, my mother was Catholic.
Mm,
My father not so much, but I grew up with my mother from age 7, so I had this kind of Judeo-Christian Catholic view of the world. And then, you know, my father introduced me to black radicalism because my father was a black Seminole, a
mm,
black person born in the Seminole tribe going back generations, and he introduced me to, you know, like anti-colonialism
mhm,
and also the black radical tradition. And through that I became a 5%er, which is Islam. And then after that started getting shifty, I moved away and I started looking into the Eastern philosophies, you know, reading everything I could. And I kind of settled there for the most of my life as a kind of spiritual, as my thoughts on anything metaphysical or spiritual, or even the quantum world, so to speak.
mm,
And I maintained that as an anarchist for decades until I got really materialist with my Marxism about, you know, 5 or 6 years ago.
mm,
But when I listen to people talk about a lot of those things, and they're not like God, they don't, you know, like God did this, or, you know, my mind automatically goes to the East,
mhm,
you know, or it automatically goes towards those other components. So, not
mm.
to say that you were intentionally writing about that stuff, but that's where my mind pulled. And also, I think that's what something that's special about your music is that you can, the things that you say can resonate on a variety of different levels, and you're not like using terms that automatically bring people back to specificity of those themes, you know.
Yeah, that was on that last point. That was something that a friend of mine had like almost kind of critiqued in my music. He was like, I kind of wish you used more specific. You were just more specific, and I revel in ambiguity. I revel in like sometimes like detachment, because first of all, it's my fucking art, and don't tell me what to write. Like that's number one. And also like yeah, you know, my music like Sunmundi is like a like it's a side thing. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, it's just like I said, it's something I used to explore different themes, things that I think are interesting. So, um, yeah, you know, you can take anything you want from anyone's music. Other people's music is more, you know, literal and, you know, hands on. Like if we're talking about Ka, for example, like, you know, fucking apples and oranges to what I'm doing on a lyrical level. So yeah, I think that's kind of the disclaimer I would pass on to a new listener. You know,
Word.
take everything you hear with a grain of salt. You know,
Sure.
I mean, yeah, seems
Right. Right. Um, a bit about your writing process.
yeah,
Um, Rapman Gavin, he said that you did writing in the car, like you
yeah,
write lyrics while driving.
yeah, super fucking
That's
dangerous.
almost like you know, that's almost worse than drunk driving, my man.
I know,
Like
bro. Shamar
texting
Shamar
while
was like
driving.
Shamar read the Caltrops interview where I said that, and he was like, "Yo, you make literal crash out music," and I'm like, "I do. That's true." Yeah, it's a horrible
Oh, that's
habit.
hilarious.
You know, fortunately for whoever cares about my life, I'm not really working on new music right now. So, you know, maybe that will console my mom in some way. But yeah, it's a really bad habit. Like, it's just kind of I have a long commute to work, and it's just when you're in the car alone, you know, you can just kind of go off and yeah, I don't know. That's just what it is, man. It's just really dangerous. I know.
Oh, how is like how what is your writing process? Do you usually write down a lot of ideas and bars and put it to and like assemble it later, or do you write straight through line verses?
Yeah, no, I rarely sit down and write a verse and then I'm done. Like it's mostly always I'm writing, you know, lines here and there that you know, I might be somewhere and I'm like, oh shit, I need to like rhyme these things, or this is a cool play on words that maybe can be useful in a song. And I have a lot of those in my phone. I just have a note, you know, on my notes app. I just have a bunch of kind of, you know, one-liners that I keep in my pocket. Um, and they frequently make it into songs. That's a pretty tried and true method. But yeah, mostly I like chip away at songs. Um, you know, in the in between parts of my day, I don't really sit down and write like in a structured kind of way. So yeah, it's just kind of what I get to it when I get to it, and it's piece by piece. Sometimes it takes weeks. I think on the low end it takes weeks. On the long end it takes months for sure.
So you're always writing down thoughts and kind of keeping that in mind. But when you actually are creating a song, do
Yeah.
you listen to the beat and then write to it and assemble, or do you kind of have like verses that you have and then apply them to a beat? Is it
Yeah,
a mix or
definitely the former. I always mostly always 99% of the time the beat is telling me where to go. Excuse me. And so that's why it's so important. I'm so picky with beats. Like if you talk to any producer I've worked with, like they'll tell you I'm so picky with beats, and I have to apologize frequently because it's just like that. Like if a beat is, you know, it's kind of like I don't have a lot. I was talking to someone about this recently. I don't have a lot of like throwaway tracks. I don't have tracks that I've like done and recorded, and then I just keep them in my back pocket because they weren't good enough for XYZ. I feel like if a beat is good enough, I'm like, oh, that needs to be a song, and then a verse is complete. It's a song. Period. Like, um, and maybe I'm like kind of closed off in that way when it, you know, artistically, that's someone might be like, oh, that's so closed minded, which it is. Maybe it is, but I know if I finish a verse, that means I enjoyed it enough that I want it to come out and I want everyone to hear it. You know what I mean? So it's like if a song doesn't get completely written and then recorded, it's not going to be a song. It doesn't exist. Um, so that's kind of my like my process, sort of.
interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't I don't rap anymore. Like I just don't have it in me to try to record, but I'm always writing. I think like sometimes I'll have a turn of phrase that comes out. I'm like, oh, that's really dope,
Mm,
and I'll put it in my notes app as well. But I just don't have it in me to kind of all the times that I was making art, it was kind of collaborative. Like I always had like an accountability partner. My
mm,
brother Sot used to leave the house. We lived together. He would leave the house with nothing and come back with 20 haiku, and I'd be like,
mm.
but you left with nothing, right? And then he's like, yeah. And then it was just like, that inspired me to start writing and taking, poetic devices more literally. We played with that type of thing, but I didn't really have it in me to, first off, I never wanted to make hip hop music to be successful, like to have like a thousand listeners or a
Mm.
gold plaque or anything. So that was out of the question. And, and I knew that there wasn't money in it for the independent artist. So, like, you are making obviously this art that means a lot to you, and you just said that you're not really making music now, and also you're still going to school. So, what is like when it comes to rapping? This is just like a thing you love
I
and
mean,
not
yeah,
a career path.
yeah, 100%. It's not something that it's not like it's not high on my list of priorities in my life. Maybe it should be. People have told me, to like care more about it.
You've got the talent. I mean, you're
I
great.
appreciate it. I
I
appreciate
mean,
that.
you just got a pitchfork review.
I
That's
appreciate
people
it.
a thing that artists, would love to have happen to them,
Yeah, I don't mean to be so fucking jaded. Like I probably sound jaded, but like,
I don't think so, but more humble than anything.
okay, thank you. You know, yeah, it's just something I do on the side of my life. It's just kind of peripheral to, I'm going to school right now. I'm hopefully going to start my master's in the fall, and that will obviously take up a lot of my time. I have another album for next year. I have another project, which is maybe an EP, maybe a full length. I don't know. That's just kind of on my plate within the span of like a year, I think. Excuse me. But yeah, I just kind of take it year by year, honestly. Um, and yeah, it's just something I do for my own fulfillment and enjoyment. So yeah, me saying that it's like peripheral in my life, it's also something that, like, if you listen to a song of mine, you can probably infer that I care a lot about it. And it's true. Like I spend every waking moment I can, like of free time, like thinking about songs, thinking about if I'm working on a project, which I am right now. It like it eats away at me so much, and it's something I care a lot about, and I feel like it's my passion in life. Like I feel fortunate that I found my passion, and I think I have some pension for it. So far things have been good. So yeah, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. I'm not trying to, you know, project any kind of success. I'm just kind of going, and if people dig it, that's cool. Maybe everyone will just fall off and be like, "No, you lost me at that album." But I appreciate people like you and Jed and etc. for caring about it. It's cool. It's feels gratifying for sure. So
The homie in the Discord, Borrowed Yeti, he wanted me to ask you about your experience with like late stage capitalism as an underground musician, and I think we kind of got an answer there.
yeah.
Um, so much of our like hobbies and activities and the things that we do that are not considered our job, our to put food on the table,
Mm,
people feel as though we have to turn those into to
mm,
monetize those, and you can't just oh yeah, I like whittling wood and not selling it on Etsy, like.
yeah.
So I think that I think it's important to have artists like that, and I think it's beautiful that there's a lot of people out there who are just like, I love this. This is how I express myself. I'm a part of a community doing this, and I love to support other artists in the community. Also, I'm not trying to squeeze, a dollar out of every interaction or
Mm.
thing that I'm doing with this. So,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's most underground rappers. Like we have you just have a full-time job and then you make like abstract kind of music on the side. And excuse me, having a job obviously enables you to be more free, take more risks in your art. Like, this is a tried and true pattern. Like, going back to Ka, obviously another kind of benchmark like figure for that kind of model. Like, no matter your career, as long as you can maintain a passion and you put food on your table during the day, and then do your thing at night. I can live a happy life like this. I love routine. Excuse me. I love routine. So, work during the day, make money, cool. Make my art in the, you know, crevices of my life that I have.
Yeah.
I'm cool, So
Tight.
yeah.
Tight. And going for your masters soon. That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. When did you another homie on the Discord, he wanted to know what were your like early influences in rap, and like, early like 2000s, like Aesop, L, Doom, like what was it that kind of got you into hip hop music?
Yeah. I mean, besides the mainstream rappers who were prevalent in my time of growing up, like I recall the heyday of like Lil Wayne, Kanye, you know, those are my early kind of memories of rap. And then my brothers were into Doom as I was in like middle school and early high school, I think. So, but my like hip hop brain did not turn on until Rock Marciano and Ka, which was in like 2017. So like I'm quite a late bloomer in that regard. And I'm like I'm like a very young hip hop fan, if you will. Yeah, like Rosebud's Revenge 1 and Grief Pedigree was like the like entry level, like my brain turned on when I heard like Cold Facts, you know what I mean?
Uh,
And then since then that zeitgeist has been keeping me engaged, rock, Ka. Just as far as like my influences, definitely early rock, Ka, obviously. I think Navy Blue used to kind of inform my music a little bit more than it does now. But overall, I think Woods is I as I've made more music, I've stopped listening. I've like kind of decreased my like listening. I think when Aethiopes came out, I was kind of making more music at that time, and I had to stop listening to it because I was like, this is too good. I'm afraid I'm gonna start, rapping about like, don't start fucking rapping about colonialism. Don't get away from there. Like, get away from that ledge. So, excuse me. Yeah, as far as my influences, I'm also influenced by people who were influenced by those names you mentioned, Doom and Aesop and LP. Like Woods was kind of, well, I mean, I guess he's right there with them in a way, but he's also kind of
one of the later artists to
yeah,
really start putting out work after their heyday almost. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. But those guys didn't, I never really kind of listened to Doom. I mean, he was sort of the only one of those mentioned that I really listened to. But yeah, it's kind of Ka and Woods. I'm like a contemporary rap baby in a way. That those two are like that's like my Ghost and Ray. You know what I mean?
Bet.
So I've tried to go back and listen to Wu Tang, and I appreciate Ghostface the most. But then some of their music I find is like, I'm just like, I just can't connect with it for some reason. I think Fish Scale is probably one of my favorite like Wu Tang universe album. Not to like make this a conversation about Wu Tang. I'm pretty uninformed, but anyway, that's just kind of like a perspective that I have.
Sure. I get it. Yeah. Ghost and Ray were my Ghost and Ray. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I feel you.
So your brothers were into like Doom. What do they think about your music?
Yeah, man. I mean, my brothers are they're supportive, and they really appreciate, they dig it. Like my middle brother is he's the best, man. He bigs me up a lot, and he always tells me that he tells me I'm special, and um that shit means a lot to me. So yeah, my family's super supportive, and like I said, if I were going for broke on music, it would be a different story. you know, I don't think I would have much ground to stand on if I was like pursuing it as a moneymaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, my family's supportive, which is tight, and yeah, man,
Yo, shout out to good families, dude. Like
I've been
my
blessed.
my
Yeah.
family's so dope, and you know, it's like it's one of the most important things for me when we talk about things like being privileged. I am so privileged by, you know, my family. We're small,
Mm,
but you know, fairly tight knit group of people who love each other, and even though we get irritated with each other, you know, like it's good to have somebody being like, "Yo, you are special. You know,
yeah, man.
you're doing great. You're doing great." And that's lovely. That's lovely and dope and dope to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. 100%.
Yeah, shout out to your brother. He's right though. You are a special artist. I'm not being hyperbolic or anything. You really are a phenomenal talent, and anybody that I know that listens to your music, whether it resonates with them as something they want to go back to, they hear it, and the talent is undeniable. You know, you might not like westerns, but you can tell when a western's good. You know what I mean? Like
I
that's
appreciate
just
I
the way
appreciate
this
that
shit
a
works
lot.
out.
I appreciate that
Yeah.
a lot, man. For real.
Do you have any other interests? Like what are like some of your other interests outside of, you know, hip hop? What type of movies do you watch? What type of books? Or, you know, let's start at like movies. Like what type of film do you pay attention to?
Yeah,
Film.
I wouldn't say I have a. I'm like, oh, here's my genre. Like, I'm really not a big like movie guy, but I will say I do love Robert Eggers movies. Um, I loved Poor Things, Parasite. These are all very new movies. Like, so I don't have a big catalog to reference. I think my favorite movie is Elephant Man by David Lynch. I think that is my favorite movie of all time.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, that movie was just so like touching, and um, yeah, that shit was awesome. But yeah, I'm not a huge movie guy. I talked to Dylan on Real Notes, and I think we just talked about like Ghibli movies most of the time, which maybe I don't know. I don't want to like
We're
be
here in
annoying and
Japan.
talk about Ghibli movies, and you're
We're
gonna be like,
Ghibli
oh
folks here. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we're Ghibli folks.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I really
I
fuck
mean,
with movies.
my favorite Ghibli is Princess Mononoke.
Okay,
Easily my favorite. Yeah.
I think I hear a
She's
lot of people
she's
say
right. Her name is 3, and she's riding a giant wolf. That speaks to me 100%.
that. It speaks to me.
Yeah.
No, yeah, those movies are great, and the new one was really sick as well. The Boy and the Heron. I don't know
I
if you
haven't
saw
seen
that.
it yet.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
that one's really
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, I can't really say I have like a type of movie. What about What about you? What's your like movie like?
Well,
uh,
I love movies a lot, and have always had like a deep interest in them and rewatching them, and I think that I'm pretty fairly well like watched, so to speak. Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new Nosferatu, but the last couple years as I've been podcasting and doing shit, I noticed that um I tend to not watch new movies. For some reason, I get a lot of anxiety when I'm
Mm,
going into a movie. And I don't know what that's about. I think I've always had that. Like I remember being really nervous to go to the movie theater. Like
mm,
I don't want to be late. And then when I'm in there, I'm just kind of like, what's going to happen? What's, even dumb shit like Ang Lee's Hulk. I specifically remember being nervous going into it. But more recently, I've been watching like some of the films of the last few years that I may have missed. And so I'm struggling to remember titles of films right now, but I just The Last Stop in Yuma County was one I just watched.
mm,
Monsters one I just watched, but yeah, I don't know. Like when I think about my favorite films, a lot of them are like formative films for me, films that I
mhm.
watched that kind of changed my life or changed my perspective. I love Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
I love, The Matrix. I love Lost in Translation,
Mm,
and I also grew up like rooting for Arnold Schwarzenegger
mm,
like at every moment of my life. Even on Christmas, I was like rooting for Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I love like Predator and shit like that. But
mm.
uh, you know, films like Snowpiercer and
Oh, that movie
Parasite,
was sick. Snowpiercer
yeah,
was tight.
Sorry to Bother You, and some of these
Yeah.
films that have like deep intentional socialist anti-capitalist themes are phenomenal. Most of the A24 shit is great.
Yeah.
I just saw that, I think it's called The Death of Dick Long, which was which is an A24 film, like one that snuck under the radar, I guess.
Mm.
Interesting enough. It was fine, but yeah, I don't know. Like
Did you catch Anatomy of a Fall? It was 20. It was from 2023.
no, I didn't see that.
Oh
I'm
man.
not even sure I've heard of that.
Oh, it's like I don't know if it's like a German. I forgot. So I don't even recall, but it's some like European movie. But yeah, that shit was like incredible. If I had to like recommend one movie, Anatomy of a Fall was really good. But
Okay.
another movie I caught recently, which was tight, was Pearl.
Okay.
Have you seen Pearl? Oh, that shit is
No.
really sick. Oh, really
Yeah.
sick. I think I do like. Oh, also like I like Jordan Peele's movies. Like
Okay.
Nope was my shit. I loved Nope. Um,
I just watched that for the first time the last week actually.
oh, cool. What'd you think?
I was trying like I am still thinking about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
What some of the themes were in there, like of course the spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, like skip
they've had
5 minutes, I
time.
don't know.
They've had
But
time to
it's been
watch
a
it.
while, but like I was there's so many things about the film that I feel are like obviously I forget old boy's name.
Daniel
The main
Kaluuya.
actor, yeah, like he has mannerisms that are horse like, like he kind of talks with his head down, he kind of makes these horse sounds. Like the alien in the sky also seems like uh vagina at times, but also
Little
a kind of
vaginal.
biblical description of an angel. there
Mm,
there's a there's a
mm.
there's a lot of things going on there about like, you know what? I'm going to get my thoughts together on that and then type it out in the Secret House Discord film room, because I have been thinking about a lot. I actually really enjoyed it, and I didn't think that it was. I was expecting to be really on the nose,
Mm.
but Jordan Peele, he surprises me again.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Us.
he's an incredible director, and he's like a fan first. Like he makes movies for movie fans. You know what I mean? And which
Yeah,
is to be done, but like that's true. And I
I mean
appreciate.
Tarantino does the same thing.
I mean, yeah,
Tarantino's doing the same
you could
thing.
probably say that
Yeah,
about all great
yeah,
directors. Like
yeah,
they're just movie fans. But
yeah.
I think what I appreciate about him is how he plays on audience expectations. How Peele does that is really cool. Um, so yeah, like Get Out, obviously incredible. Us was probably my least favorite of his movies,
Haven't
but that
seen
was
it.
a word. But yeah, Nope was just really sick. I do like how he uses like metaphor and like there's kind of unanswered questions, like the thing with like the shoe balancing
Yeah,
up and
yeah,
and there's like a lot of lore that kind of goes into his movies.
yeah.
Um,
Everything seems a bit intentional. Like,
yeah, for sure.
there's not.
Yeah,
Yeah, anything could be symbolic or meaningful.
yeah,
In a way that I really I like Get Out a lot. I thought it was great, but Nope was surprisingly better than I was expecting.
yeah, man. Yeah, I think because like he wants us like I feel like he just makes you think about every single scene and like what's behind every door and what's you know
Yeah,
why did that person say that? You know
yeah.
what I mean? So
Is that going to mean something later?
yeah, exactly. Like it's kind of a
Yeah,
challenge, a fun
yeah,
challenge.
yeah.
Watching those movies. I also like just a good old fashioned like mystery, like Glass Onion, and what was that other one? The one with the like Daniel Craig is. They're just like kind of
Oh,
mystery.
yeah. The Daniel Craig ones. I also like
Yeah.
the like Murder on the Nile, those type of kind of Agatha Christie type of mystery films where it's like
Mm-hmm.
a who done it. Yeah, those
Mm-hmm.
are really good. Glass Onion and the
Knives Out.
first two. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
those movies were.
They're
I love those movies. I really
yeah.
dig those. They're like they're just so puzzling. They're very fun.
Yeah, the who done it, you're constantly guessing like who could it be, what's the motivation, and still surprised at the end. Yeah.
Hmm.
I really enjoy those as well.
Yeah.
Who are you like who are some of your like favorite thinkers, philosophers, poet, artists, or things of that nature? Like who are your favorite creatives or academics or
Yeah.
revolutionaries? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not even a big reader like that. So I think artists kind of end up forming like I have read like a good amount of James Baldwin. Like James Baldwin is someone for sure. David Foster Wallace, like I appreciated. And who else? I don't know. I guess right now I'm also reading Murakami 1Q84. I don't know how familiar you are with him. It's like his first book I've read. I'm not answering your question directly. Like I'm just, but
no, just go off. Yeah,
that shit is insane. I don't know if you've ever read any of his books. This is my first of his that I'm reading. Just incredible. I'm trying to get back into reading. This is my first book in a while, and it's just like a 900-page book. So I'm just like forcing myself to read.
Yeah.
So
most of my reading over the last 10 years has been like nonfiction shit, and comic books.
Okay.
But you know, for a long time I was peeling through this 100 greatest novels of the century, Time magazine list. And I got up, like I'm in the 80s now. I finished so many books, but I also noticed that my memory's so bad that I'm just like, I don't really remember what Slaughterhouse was about, you know. Yeah, I don't remember what it was about. Catch 22, I loved it, but what happened?
Yeah. I think one book that has stuck with me so much was Native Son. I forgot who the author. I don't know if you remember who wrote that book, but excuse me. God, I don't know who wrote that, but that was one of the books that like gave me I think I've never gotten such a visceral reaction from reading a book as Native Son. I don't know if you had the author.
Richard Wright.
Yeah, that shit was awesome. I took I took some classes in like African American lit, so I've read like a fair amount of popular lit from early 20th century kind of stuff. So yeah, there's just it's just an overwhelming amount of things that I need to read. So I mean, everyone says that. It's just like it's just so daunting. It's like, I need to make myself smarter, but it's like I saw this interview, this clip of like David Foster Wallace in some interview, which like maybe you've seen it, like where he was asked why people can't focus or something, and he was like, reading demands you to like shut everything else out and sit in a dark room in the quiet and think. And people don't, and that's hard, but that's what makes it rewarding. Well, the struggle is what makes it rewarding. And that kind of goes back to like good albums are albums. I think the best albums are albums that I don't listen to frequently. Like like this new Pink Sifu album, Black Antique.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's fucking insane. But I'm like he has fucking bops for days. But I do appreciate the full album listening experience, and that's one. And also Gumbo, man, like you just need to take like a day and just like sit with those. And there's just so much, like these amazing albums are just piling up. And I find that with like the strong, like even the Shook World by Gang, King Vision Ultra. That's another one that I think I'm not kidding, listened to that album twice, and it's one of the best albums I've ever heard. And it's just, it just demands engagement, which I can't really afford during the day here and there.
Right.
So,
anyway, that's what I was kind of saying about Lived and Born. Like some of my favorite, same thing with Shook World. I didn't go back to it all that often, but it was amazing. This Pink Sifu, incredible, especially like the first 25 minutes of it. Groundbreaking avant. We're actually going to review and talk about that today, and it's only been 5 days, and I'm like, I'm not prepared to talk about this thing. Like I listened to it 5 times, and every time I was uncovering new things, but I also feel like talking about it will not do it justice. It's one of those things you have to experience. Like I don't listen to Ethiops too much. You know what I mean? For me, it's one of those albums.
That's another one.
I don't. I see people talking about like, I played Billy Woods for 9,000 hours this year, and I'm just like,
how? How can you mentally afford to do that? You know what I mean? Some of it's nice when you find an artist who you can have that like kind of happy medium with. I think someone like Makami like strikes that balance well. Even though like Rich Ass Haitian was like definitely his most like political, but it's still, so inviting, so inviting. And then Obi-Wan is someone who he's been my favorite rapper for like a year. I've been like obsessed
People
with
keep on shitting on Obi-Wan, and I'm like, yo, what is
Let
going
me at him,
on?
bro. Let me at him, bro. I'll defend
Yeah,
Obi-Wan. Like,
I love
I
Obi-Wan.
love
Yeah,
him, man. Like, dude, style. Shut the fuck up with these
yeah,
mock comparisons. Please
yeah,
stop. Please.
yeah.
Like,
I
bro.
have to emphasize that, like on our last, we did the flood season joint, and somebody was in the comments talking about, oh, he's a fucking mock biter. I was like, don't do that
Bro,
on
shut the
my
fuck
page,
up.
bro.
Stop.
Don't do that on my
Don't
page.
reduce my man to that,
Yeah.
please.
I
Like,
was like, first off, that's just a terrible take, a terrible surface level take that does nothing for Mock or Obi-Wan. And you're on here on one of the few channels that is discussing independent underground art,
yeah,
and you're shitting on artists.
right.
Who are you? This is not a Twitter timeline, and I'm an authoritarian that will boot you from you excommunicado, bro. You don't come back. Yeah, I don't tolerate that shit.
You're out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
yeah,
for
yeah.
real.
86, bro.
Yeah,
And it's like, I'm all for people having their opinions, but that's the thing about the internet, man. Like, there's just endless opinions, and I
yeah.
don't need to hear all of them. So
It's
yeah,
daunting, you know. Just
yeah,
the landscape is just so rough. Like
yeah,
Twitter's Nazis, and you know,
yeah,
the whole shit is fucked. Like
yeah,
I often consider just like ghosting, you know, just like continuing to release music anonymously. Like that's kind of my, you know, that's like a dream, but like I think people would stop listening to me if I just went dark like that. So
there,
you know how it is.
so,
Like,
so much of the like contemporary listening market, they like things like this. They like, going to the interviews and finding out more about the artists. I
yeah,
think I will rarely watch an interview like Ro and Rap Music Plug podcast.
mm,
He's phenomenal at doing it, but I
yeah,
gotta be honest, I don't really tap in that much because a lot of times I like to not know about
mm,
my artists in a
that's
way,
interesting.
and for some reason it's just like, I hear something and it's like, that kind of makes me look at them a little bit different, and I'm
Interesting.
only human. I can only, like, you know handle so much. But yeah,
Yeah,
I disabuse myself of the timelines. I
yeah,
don't really scroll Instagram. We've got a Twitter account, and only thing that we do on that, Jet does it. He'll Google, like, he'll search our name and see if we pop up and reshare it every once in a while. But
yeah.
and it's to our detriment too, I think, because we're not engaging with people, we're not resharing, and all of our growth has just been organic with people sharing shit for us.
And that's
But
cool, man. That's like more
I'm
that's
quite happy with it.
valuable.
Yeah.
That's more valuable anyway. Like I don't know if you can hear my dog barking. Apologies for that.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, man. Like uh, yeah, it's just kind of like daunting to. I dislike playing the promotional games. Like I know you have to, and I know it's also like a jaded position to be like, oh, I'm not going to promote my. Like I understand. It's just like I just want to make the music and be done. Kind of like I wanted to stop at the music making part. So yeah,
That's another thing that's difficult for independent artists, because you're creatives inherently, and now they're forcing you to this business aspect of it that you have to try to manage too. And it's just like, that fucking sucks. Like, I'm just trying to make music and be creative and share it with people that will appreciate it. And now I've got to figure out SEO and how to manipulate the fucking algorithm.
yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that I think Ka had it so like he had it down. Like he post the shit once and then people flock to it. That's the strongest type of relationship you can have with a consumer. Is like,
Yeah.
you know, they like you want people to like hold on to what you do, and you want people to like care about what you do enough to seek it out sometimes. So
Yeah.
anyway, you know, I understand it's just like we have to do that kind of promotional stuff. Like I just dislike it. It's just
Yeah.
tedious, and I feel like an idiot kind of doing it, like playing that game. So um but anyway, for my next album,
I was just about to ask. Yeah.
where
What's going on with that? Yeah. Can we
yeah,
are there details for us, or is it top secret?
yeah. Well, I mean, it's me and Sasko. So it's tight. I can't, not to hype it up, but I can't fathom making better music than this. Like it's really tight, and we've been working on it for a really long time. Like well over a year, I think, at this point. So that's gonna be really cool. And yeah, we're gonna try to get some videos done, and you know, just try to load the clip a little bit and have some kind of stuff at the disposal, hopefully. And then I think Lived and Born vinyl is happening pretty soon. So that's down the pipeline for sure.
Tight. Sasko is amazing.
Yeah, he's the man.
Sasko's production is unusual,
Yeah.
even in the like underground space. I
Yeah.
I hear like a lot of like IDM kind of intelligent dance music type of elements to Sasko's production style, and that's a fire combination.
Oh
You and
yeah.
Sasko is going to kill. I mean, the last album, all the features killed on the last album, but yeah,
But also, if you took the features away, it would still be an insane album.
yeah, it'd be
Because I think that's something he plays very well too, is just like the textures in his beats and the soundscapes that he can create, like blow me away. Yeah, we've been collaborating for years. Like we've made a lot of songs together. Like
yeah.
I don't think I've made more songs with one person than him. That's kind of a spoiler. And yeah, his range is unbelievable. When I first heard him, I was like feeling some kind of like Kenny Siegel vibes, but I don't know, man. His range is insane.
Yeah.
And Hottest Year on Record is that's that shit.
Also insane, yeah.
It's really, really, really
That,
crazy.
that's see that like just thinking about it seems like it's going to be like a sonic departure for you compared to Lived and Born.
Yeah.
That album is a little bit more like open and spacious and minimal in a lot of ways, but Sasko's music is undulating and busy and things are happening. So I'm excited to hear that that contrast. That should be fire.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's really tight. Yeah, Sasko's he's really sick. Yeah, it is definitely very different from anything I've ever done. But you know, I think if I were to make more albums, I would want to keep trying different things, going in different directions. Um, you know, and I appreciate the one producer, one rapper project.
I love
Like
that too. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Like I guess that's kind of like an like not old school, but like that's kind of a traditionalist sort of.
It's a tried and true formula, you know.
Yeah, man.
It works in specific ways.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
love that. I mean, DJ Muggs is one who, I mean, he's made a lot of really incredible albums with you know, just one rapper, like Chaos with Rock Marcy.
Yep.
That one's sick. But yeah, you
Even
know,
his joint with the Jizza is like
yeah,
some of Jizza's dopest work, I think.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, so I think that's something that I'm always willing to do that. Build on that kind of level with a producer. So yeah, we'll see. You never know. I don't know. But definitely going to be more music within the span of a year.
Tight. Very happy to hear that. I've got just one more question for you before I think we'll get out of here. It's been about an hour. Who would be an artist, like a dream collaboration for you? If you could choose somebody to be on a, you know, on a song, who would you anybody, you know, ideally living, you know, but yeah.
Like rapper?
Sure. Vocalist, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Dream collaboration is the question.
Okay. I mean, I think Woods is like an obvious one who is like a bucket list kind of person to rap alongside.
That seems very possible. That seems very possible. From where I stand, I feel like it could happen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the sentiment, if nothing else. And then I think on a producer level, like Preservation, like I've always, and Messiah Music, those two, I've always wanted to. I feel like those two are like final boss tier, like you know what I mean. Especially Preservation, dude. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, the things he does are just, and Messiah, you know, and Messiah, like these guys are just top tier. So I think that's kind of, you know, that's a couple people. I think.
I don't think those collabs are out of reach for you at all. Yeah,
I don't know, man.
for
We'll
sure.
see. We'll see. I don't know. Who would you say? Who would you say for me? Who would you want to hear me with?
That's a good question.
If anyone,
I would
maybe
like
stop. Who knows?
I would like to hear you with like I wouldn't mind hearing you with Self Jupiter
Mm,
would be dope. In terms of MCs, Self Jupiter would be dope. Uh I've been feeling like I would love for you and Shamar to put out a duo record too, but you know, that's super possible as well. When it comes to production, I mean, I think you and Televangel would be crazy.
you're the second person to say that.
Yeah, you
I
and
think
Televangel would be crazy.
Dano
Yeah.
said that as well. I think.
Oh, word. Hey,
Yeah.
that's my super twin. Shout out Dano. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That me and him connect on stuff like that. Yeah,
Really?
you and Televangel would be crazy. Like Televangel's like I think he's also a part of that like upper tier producers
Mm,
alongside like Still Tip Dove, Kenny, Messiah, Preservation that are just like elevated just above a lot of the other dope
yeah.
producers.
I hear
And
you.
yeah, that would be wild. Especially with Televangel's kind of like sonic palette and range and what he's able to bring in and incorporate from uh different kind of genres
Mm,
and put things together. No matter who he works for, it sounds like they're supposed to be on
mm.
those type of beats.
Yeah, I
Yeah, so
appreciate producers that can do that.
yeah,
Sasko's definitely one of those people who
yeah,
can give you any type of beat, and it's like, okay, he's comfortable in that style. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Yeah, there's an abundance of amazing producers out there. Like, it's pretty it's daunting.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
someone who's an underrated producer is Outside House. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Um,
She's in our Discord, I think.
yeah, um, yeah, she's like
Maybe.
yeah, maybe, but
Yeah.
she's different. Oh, actually,
I've got to
honestly,
tap in.
you know who I would love to make more music with? Hester Valentine. Or I just want to like force him to like I want to like executive produce an album for him or something. I don't know. I just want more music from him, bro. Like he's the
You
fucking
and
best, dude.
you and Shamar and a couple other people I've seen have been like, yo, like we think we're dope, but Hester is the illest.
Hester's
Yeah,
different, man.
yeah,
Hester's different, bro.
yeah.
I fucking love him, and he's such a good performer as well. And he's so funny. Like he's just a funny dude. Um, he has a line. He said, "I'm between Sketch 185 and Blink 183." Like who says shit like that? You know what I mean? And then I think he
That's
tweeted
fire.
recently. He was like, "I did not mean to say Blink 183. I just forgot their name." I don't know. He's just so funny to me. But
Yeah,
yeah, more music from him, hopefully. And then,
tight.
yeah, regarding Shamar, he and I have talked. We've talked about it about doing an album, and I think that's something I would love to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, you never know.
I think you guys like the stylistic differences in the tones of your voice work really well together as a
Or
contrast. Yeah.
yeah, that's something I value a lot. Like if I were to actually do a full project with another rapper, like I would hope it would be someone like Shamar, who's like we have very different styles.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you never know.
That's what that would make it wonderful.
Yeah,
But hey, I wanna thank you, Sunmundi, for joining me today. I really feel like we got to know each other a bit better on this one.
yeah.
Thank you so much for your support of our Discord and our show and sending us the albums early and shit like that. Where can people find you online if anywhere?
Yeah, Sunmundi on Twitter and Instagram. I think I'm more alive maybe in Discord, maybe. So come to
Okay.
the Secret House Discord.
Hey,
Yeah, that's it.
tight. Well, thank you, brother. We'll I'll release this in the next day or two, couple days, and make sure to let you know what's out.
No doubt. I appreciate you so much, man. This was a great talk. Yeah, I appreciate it big time.
Yeah, thanks, fam. Take care, and I hope Odaijini get better, feel less sick soon.
No doubt. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, Joe. Peace.
Peace.
I